In this tutorial, we're going to be doing a complete run through of a show. We've already done a complete installation of the Quizstorm engine and the Quizstorm server. We've then learnt how the interactivity works with the Quizstorm server, so we can use the Quizstorm Keypad and the Enjoytech system. We've done a complete pre-show setup with our quiz modules and all the settings and configurations, and we've learnt the powerful features of the Quizstorm Master Controller. Now, of course, you can use the keyboard for controlling your show or the Enjoytech controller, but for this, I'm going to be using the Quizstorm Master Keypad because it is just the simplest way. Now, to start with, I'm going to run a promo. This is something that you can run prior to the show and leave it on a loop so that anyone coming in can see that they need to download the Quizstorm Keypad if they haven't already done so. And there's two versions of this, one with the soundtrack, and then there's also one without the soundtrack if you don't want that running. And it comes up with the QR codes. They stay up for quite a while so people can just quickly scan that, get the app and be ready to go. So we're back in the holding screen and I think it's time to start the show. Now, the only place you'll see Quizstorm branding in the Quizstorm product is in this evaluation version. The premium version is always branded exactly to your brand and your colours, so this will look very bespoke when you're running your own version of it. But the intro is designed really just to get everyone excited and ready and let them know the show's about to start. And here we go. We're back into a holding screen. And what we're going to do now is hit space on the keyboard, or in fact, I'm going to use the master controller and just hit the advance button. Brings up the next round, which is science and nature. And then we hit it once more to start the round. And as you can see, the app has the title of the round on the top. And we hit the advance button again to bring up the possible answers. Should be noted that the time here and the sound, this is purely aesthetic, as I mentioned in the setup. Nothing actually happens until the Quizmaster hits the advance button to reveal the answer. So our players are now putting in their answers. We're going to hit the advance button, which brings up the answer. And then we're going to go to the stats and see how everyone did. So we can see that 3 of the players got it right and the rest of the players got it wrong. So let's hit advance again and go to the next question. You can see in the bottom right of that screen, this is question 2 of round 1 of 5. That's really there just for the reference for the Quizmaster. So let's see how our players got on with that round. So we can see that a lot more players got the answer right on that one, but out in first place is player 18. And if we hit D, or the appropriate button on the master controller, we can cycle through different stats, total time, average time, and of course, if players are tied, the speed at which they've answered becomes very important. So we're advancing on to the next question. Now, in addition to being able to see the first 6 and the last 6, we can also go into the full leaderboard and we can look at the stats in there should we wish to do so. You'll see at the end of the round, those using the app will actually get their stats come up on their screen. We'll see that at the end of this round. But let's get on to the next question. This is question 4 of 5, and then 5 of 5 we're going to skip through just so we can get to the end of the round. And we see the final stats there, questions answered. And there we have it. If you're still in the screen with the columns, then the players will get the stats up on their screen for the last round. As soon as you go out of the columns, that will disappear from the app. So if you want people to be able to look at their stats, this is the screen that has to stay up for them to review that. And of course you can go and check on the main leaderboard should you wish that everything matches up correctly. Now, when we did the setup, the next round we loaded was a picture round, and that means the first thing you'll see is a picture that goes full screen. If you press the advance button, it will go to a slightly smaller picture and bring up the question and the answers. And this progresses in the same way. So picture comes up first, press advance, bring up the question and the possible answers. So exactly the same as the text round, but just with the addition of a picture that comes up first. So we'll skip through this one to get to the end of the picture round, so you can see what the stats look like at the end of that. So as you'll see, the difference between the top two players, both 7 out of 10, but the difference is the total time and the average time in answering the question. So fastest finger is as important to getting the answer right as well. And there we have it on the leaderboard, confirming what we've just seen. Now, the next quiz that we loaded into the setup was an audio round. So what happens here is that when you bring up the first question, the audio will play. And then when you press the advance button again, you'll get the countdown start and the possible answers. And then you press, as before, to bring up the answer. So it should be noted that you can, with the audio round, let the entire clip play should you wish to do so, or you can in fact skip it if you want to. And we're actually going to skip all of these just for the sake of brevity to the end of the round. So the next one is our film round. So similarly to the picture round, you get a full screen first, and you can leave that full screen and run the full clip if you want to, or by pressing the advance button. As you've seen, just hitting the space bar or the advance button is essentially the main button that you have to use to run these quizzes. Once again, we're going to skip through these so that you can see what happens at the end of this round. So the stats have progressed. Take a look at the app, see if that all matches up, which it does. That's all looking good. And then we're moving on to our final round. So you will see on the screen as we progress to the final round that it comes up on the screen. Final round, the golden age of cinema. So we will skip through the final round because it's more of the same mixture of the sort of things we've seen before. But as you'll see at this point, your stats don't come up or your columns don't come up. Nothing will happen until you hit advance, and then it will one by one bring up in reverse order: 6th place, 5th place, 4th place. And this is so that you as a presenter, as the host, can build the tension, and this is totally in your control. Nothing happens until you hit the advance button to bring up all of the players. So you can then go through. As we see there, we've got a draw, but the difference was 1 second in the end between the top two players. So that was very, 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 very tight. Now at this point, nobody will be able to see the stats on their device. It's only when you run this final outro movie, while this movie is running, people will be able to see their final stats on their phone. The reason for that is we don't want people to just disappear. They will have to wait until you run the outro before those stats appear on their device. So there you have it. In just around 10 minutes, we've done a complete run through of the show. Obviously, we skipped through quite quickly, but we've shown you all the fundamentals of how it works. In the holding screen at the end with your fireworks and your confetti, you can still go back in in the normal way to look at the stats should you wish to, whether it's the columns or through to the leaderboard, so you can still check this after the show should you wish. Anything else that you're not sure about, please reach out. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Happy quizzing!